Greetings all, welcome back to the channel. If you've seen the description, you know why we're here. A friend of mine who's been in the car audio business for decades contacted me out of the blue one day and said, I've got all this stuff lying around. I'm gonna clear off all my shelves. This stuff's all going to the recycling. So why don't you come stop by, see if you find anything you like, and then you can just drag it home with you. So I thought, well, you don't gotta hit me in the face with a wet mop. I'll go ahead and do that. So here we are. There's lots to get through, so I don't want to waste too much of your time. So let's get started with this gigantic power supply here. He actually had 3 of these things he was looking to get rid of. I think, anyway. I think he had one even bigger than this at 50 amp, but I figured this would be more than enough for me. So this I grabbed just so I could work on car audio stuff without having to rely on old computer power supplies. Because computer power supplies are switching power supplies, and you don't always want that when you're dealing with car audio stuff. This solves that problem because it's not a switching power supply, it's a linear power supply. We got all these gigantic power transistors back here. Fuse does not need resetting, it looks like. Or circuit breaker anyway. But I just want to power this on real quick and see if it works, because I've got plans for this, which may or may not involve the rest of the stuff we're going to be seeing in this video. So I got my meter out. Power it up here. And we'll plug this beast in. And we'll see if it turns on. And we've got a light up here, so it is turned on. I would have thought this power switch would light up too, but I guess not. Alright, does it work? Sure does. Awesome. Now whether or not it works under load remains to be seen, but I'm sure we'll find that out soon enough, because we got a lot of stuff in this gigantic haul here to look at. And you guys will have to tell me which of these items you'd like me to feature in a future video, because we really don't have time to get into all of it here. So we'll just move this off to the side. And we're going to start into with the subwoofers, I guess. First up, we've got this Kenwood Marine unit. It's a 10-incher. Seems to be moving well. I don't see any binding up of any voice coil parts or suspension parts. Looks fairly beefy, except it's got maybe a 1.5-inch voice coil in there. Single voice coil, and the model number is KFC. I'd love some KFC right now. Anyway, KFC W254MRW. And the first thing I looked for when I found this was I tried to get the specifications on it just to see if possibly this would be a good candidate for tapped horn use or folded horn use, and unfortunately I was not able to find enough specifications on it to determine that. So if I was planning on using this in a tapped horn or something like that, I would need to, I don't know, either have it sent away to have it clipple measured or get a woofer tester or something just to get the full parameters off this. Because as it stands right now, I do not have enough information to make that call. What the specifications I need are, oh, let's see. Well, I actually need the full teal small specifications, but in order to determine whether or not it's good for a tapped horn, there's a formula I use. And we'll get into that in a second because we're bringing out a big boy now. This is the next one we're looking at. This is a JL Audio 12W3 4 ohm. Let me see if I can get the grill out of there. Kind of tricky on these ones. But yeah, this one also moving well. Nice big beefy magnet on it. There you can see the actual model. Yeah, this is really, really well built. And like I did with the Kenwood, I immediately looked up the specifications and I found all the specifications I needed. Now the formula I use to determine suitability in a horn or a tapped horn, and I really should make another video about this, going into my whole design, you know, sort of a procedure for getting a tapped horn and folded horn done. But the formula I use, which I did not come up with myself, I gotta give credit to my friend Little Mike for that, from AVS Forums. He's the one who came up with this. What you do is you take your BL numbers and square them. So BL squared divided by RE divided by SD. And you take the final result, and if it's between 0.08 and 0.12, you've got a folded horn candidate. If it's between 0.12 and 0.20, that's good for a tapped horn. And quite honestly, this Kenwood over here, I expect is probably good for a tapped horn. It's just giving me that feeling. There's kind of a feeling I get when it comes to stuff like this. But yeah, I immediately ran the JL through the formula, and I came up with 0.11. So it's right on the line. It may actually be good for both alignments. So that's why I grabbed this. And it just occurred to me, I have not been testing the voice coils. Let's do that real quick. Now, keeping in mind this is going to be DC resistance and not impedance, which is a function of AC power, you're not going to get perfect 4 ohms out of this measurement. But let's see what we get. .7, 4.6, 4.5. Coil's good. Let's move that beast off to the side and get the Kenwood back here. And we'll check this one out if we can. This one's going to be tricky. We gotta go face down with it. All right. Oh, come on, meter, make contact. All right, 4.5, same deal. Coils are good. Now the next one we're gonna look at, if I can get this put away here, is a little guy. Well, relatively little guy. We have another JL Audio subwoofer here. This one's an 8-inch. Again, cone is moving freely. No binding up in the voice coil. So that might be good for a project or two. This unit is the 8W04, as you can see there. I don't know about its suitability in a horn or a tapped horn, but chances are I'd probably use this for something else anyway, because it's a bit small for the tapped horns and horns I like to design. Even in a tapped horn, you're not going to get serious amounts of low frequency energy out of an 8-inch. It's just really, really hard. So what's the voice coil doing? 4.5, it's good. And that makes me happy. Now, I gotta rummage under the desk for the next set of stuff here. A Kicker CX600.1, 1200 watts max. And I've been very, very happy with the key amplifier that's out in the car right now. So I was curious about this. He doesn't know if this amp actually works or not, but it is here. It's just sort of floating around in the box. I don't know what all is actually here of it. So we've got some screws. Looks like the owner's manual is here. Oh wait, what's this? This is a Kenwood subwoofer manual. Where did that come from? Most likely this is not for the one I just showed you. Warranty card for the Kenwood. More Kenwood. More Kenwood. Oh, but we've got the kicker certified power output for this amp. 687 watts. Man, if this thing works and this thing does that number, I'm happy. I don't know exactly what I would use this amplifier for, because like I said, the one in the car is doing just fine, but who knows. Some of this other stuff that I've got to show you today may well give me an excuse to use that amp, if it works. And it's not the only amp too, so we'll keep that in mind. Alright, next up we're going to do some speakers. DLS Sound Fashion. DLS 5606 or 5706. Not sure which. It says in the box you get 2 midwoofers and 2 tweeters, including filters and cables. But not all of that may be in here. We don't know. This is not a brand I'm familiar with at all, so kind of interested to see what we've got here. Okay, we've got some speaker wire. Can always use more of that. Let's see, what's this? Big piece of styrofoam. And just from the looks of this, I'm going to guess the tweeters are not here. So we've got 2 little smaller boxes. We'll bring those out. One of these is still sealed, one of these is not. Alright, we've got a midwoofer in this one. With some screws. DLS 5606, that's what we've got here. From the Vocal Company Limited. This looks pretty high quality, I would have to say. Let's get the meter back here. See if we can get a reading on the voice coil. I'm sure it's fine because these were actually sealed in the box when I went to go look at this stuff, so. And you can't see the meter, can you? Let me see if I can grab the terminals here. Okay. 76 ohms, that cannot be right. That's weird. Should be 4 ohms. Or closer to 4 ohms. Considering, again, we're measuring DC resistance and not AC impedance. 76.8, that is so weird. Huh. Let's open up the other one, see what it's got going on with it. Let me find a knife first. Alright, yeah, this is new in the packaging. Absolutely brand new, it looks like. I'm noticing there are no screws in this one. So it could be the other one held the screws for both drivers, and yes, that is the case. This time I'm going to pull the grill off. Really nice construction on this. Cone moves well, so let's see if we can get a reading on this coil. There we go, 4.4. That's about what I expected to see. So what's going on with this other one? Do we have a blown woofer here? Is that why these things were where they were? Well, if it's blown, it's not giving me any indications it is. No, something's going on with that voice coil. Something's off. I don't know if this would actually make sound if I tried to power it or not, but maybe we can do that, maybe we can't. I am not going to run it off that Sony receiver from last week, because the Sony receiver from last week uses an STK in it. And if you know anything about STK amplifier chips, they love to short out and blow themselves to kingdom come when they find a load they don't like. So I paid enough for that I don't really want to risk it. So yeah, that's a big question mark on that one. So I'm going to find a marker. I'm going to mark this as potentially bad. Who knows, we might still be able to use one woofer for something and whatnot. I don't know what I would do with it, but it's here. At least we got one good one. Gotta remember, I got all this stuff for free, so I'm not complaining whatsoever. Okay, how does this grill go back on? There are little indents that it sits in. Who cares? Time's a wasting. So, time to put this back. And I'm gonna shut off the video real quick, and we'll pick back up once I get the rest of this stuff on the table. Alright, we're gonna start getting into some head units now. There's a few of them in here, so time to get started. He had so many head units that it was just impossible for me to take everything. A lot of them were OEM audio gear from, you know, factory, which includes this guy. This here is a Mopar. Oh, what is the sales code? RBQ, I think, or something like that. Anyhow, I did some research. It is indeed from a 2013 Wrangler. And the reason I picked this up is because this is a navigation MyGig unit. And that's important because my parents own a 2013 Chrysler Town & Country with this head unit. And their navigation doesn't work. You see, this particular model had a big problem with the navigation boards frying on them. So I'm hoping this one's got a good one in it, because that's the idea. I'm going to take the navigation board out of this, throw it in that unit, and hopefully get that thing to do navigation for the first time ever. Yes, I know aftermarket is a thing, but that particular van also happens to have the rear seat dual screen DVD system in it as well, so it's got to stay factory. So yeah, this one's got some screws missing. That's okay. I'm after the navigation board and the navigation board alone. I don't think we'll get into it right now, but yeah, we got us a MyGig here. And I'm going to take the navigation board out of it and probably scrap the rest of it. So that's that one. Next one. We've got a Clarion Let's see, this is upside down. This is a VRX 935VD from the early 2000s. It's one of their fold-out DVD screen head units, which is kind of why I got it. And I don't know exactly why, because if I'm remembering right, this thing is missing the hideaway module that goes with it. So we may not actually be able to do anything with this. See, because there's an LCD screen that extends out of the unit and then folds upwards, Clarion didn't have enough room inside here to really put the rest of the electronics in, so they had to do it in an external box, and that's what plugs in here. And I don't have that for this unit, I don't think. There is one in the box that does have the hideaway unit that we might have to be able to do something with, but not that one. Okay, next up. Next up is gold. I cannot wait to show this to you. We have a vintage Kenwood KGC9400 graphic equalizer. Guys, I can't tell you how much I loved these things back in the 80s. There's just something about the way Kenwood did the spectrum analyzer on these things that I just fell in love with. This dates from the era of the KRC 999, which, if you know me at all, you know I've been looking for one of those things for decades now. And yes, I know there's one on eBay. It's also a piece of junk. I'm not buying that one. But yeah, back in the days when I was frequenting Decibels and Swift Current, this was usually the first place I stopped, was the car audio display they had up out front, which had all the Kenwood stuff in it. And they had the KRC 999 front and center. And this has basically got that same sort of aesthetic going on here. It's an EQ and a I can't talk. It's a graphic equalizer and a spectrum analyzer in one. And it's got 4 presets here. And unfortunately, Kenwood had to do things different. We've got these 8-pin DIN connectors for interconnectivity. Now, there is a way I can interface with these to use with other car audio gear, but I think what I'd really like to do is I'd like to find a vintage Kenwood cassette receiver, cassette tuner preamp to go with this. And then I will make some adapters for the front and rear so I can jack into some new amps, which may tie into the amps I got in this box here, or with this car audio haul. And I'm kind of thinking what I'd really like to do, if you know me at all, I've always wanted an early 80s Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, preferably one in black, that talked and sounded like William Daniels. You know why. And I'm thinking what I'd like to do is I'd like to grab something like that, get a Kenwood head unit to go with this, and then I would just have this awesome 80s dash going on, and it would be so awesome. Either that or a Chrysler Laser from the mid-80s. I could do either one, really. But yeah, the Trans Am is something I've wanted since I was a kid, so that's probably what I would go for first. But yeah, I cannot wait to see if that thing works. We're not going to do it today. Might do it in a future video. We'll see. Alright, next up, we've got a beast. A JL Audio Marine amplifier. Class AB, so probably doesn't do a lot of power, but it's got some weight to it, so it'd probably do a decent job. Let's see, minimum 2 ohm, so yeah, we can do 4 ohm bridge with it, so it'll run a subwoofer. It is the model M2150, if you want to look that up. So yeah, this will be a good thing to use to see if that gigantic DC power supply actually works. So we'll set that off to the side. Next up, we've got another one of these DVD head units. This one's a Pioneer, so I'm curious to see if this one works. In general, I tend to prefer Pioneer a little over Clarion, so yeah, it'd be nice to see if this one works, I guess. This is another one of those units where the screen comes out and then flips up. But this one does not have a hideaway module. At least I don't think it does. Got a USB input there. So for the first time we've got USB. But wait, there is something here. I don't know what this is. Hopefully this doesn't go to an interface box, because I'd like to see if this thing works. Let's see, we've got something here that's covered in electrical tape. What could this possibly be? It's another connector of some sort. Possibly goes to a changer or Sirius XM. I don't know. We can look into that another time. Perhaps. Got the usual preamp outputs. Kind of dirty, but whatever. This was obviously used in a vehicle, so can't expect too much to look good. Next up, we have something special. This is a vintage Chrysler Infinity 2 head unit, and I used to have a couple of these. The reason I don't have a couple of these anymore is I found it really hard to keep the cassette mechanisms in these things working. I don't know if I've still got parts lying around for this, but as you can kind of see here, it's got all shot on the top here, so I'm expecting this probably needs some work. Let's just get it out of the wrapper here. So you can get a look at it. There you go. And this is what was special about the Infinity 2. You had a digital EQ over here. These are built by Mitsubishi. So, yeah, I'm guessing this is likely going to be full of absolutely terrible solder joints, because that's Mitsubishi's thing back in the day. But yeah, you can tell what the manufacturer is from the supplier code here, 28046. That's Mitsubishi. 26777, that's Alpine. So yeah, if you wanted to know that, now you know. So yeah, clearly this was used with the Infinity system, because it's got the little connector back here for the amp ground relay. Or rather, I probably could have phrased that better. This is the relay ground for the system amps that would turn on. So yeah, maybe we can do something with this. Maybe we can't. Very likely we can't, because like I said, I could never keep the cassette decks in these things working, but I've got an Infinity 2 again. That's all I care about. All right, next up. Oh, if I can get this stuff out of here, that would be good. We have a Clarion hideaway unit for a VRX. I don't know if that's a 6 or an 8. I'm thinking that's an 8. VRX 835. So this is the accessory box that you would use to go on one of the Clarion units to get full functionality out of it. We've got two connectors on this side. Two fancy ones, that is. We've got the 3 RCA pre-outs for subwoofer front and rear. Let's see, we've got a normal DSP EQ switch here. That might be interesting to see what it does. There's a reset button. Okay, here we go. CNET and source unit. And on this side, we've got AV inputs, because this is the hideaway unit for a fold-out DVD screen unit, which it so happens I have. It is right here. So yeah, maybe we can do something with this one. I don't know. I don't have the interconnect cable that goes between this and the hideaway unit, so I would have to find that. But yeah, looks like this one is all here. Okay, what is next? We're getting down to the last little bits of it here. Okay, this one's got private information on it, so let me get rid of that real quick. Okay, we've got a head unit in the box. And this was apparently an RMA unit, or something that was sent in for warranty service. What do we have here? If anything, I would expect this one to work. Okay, we've got a pigtail here for the unit, so we can plug it in if we need to. Complete with fuse. So let's put the box aside. And there's more personal information on this, so I'm going to take it off before I show it to you. I don't like to show my friends' personal information on camera, so here's what we've got. This is a VRX 745VD. Looks like a little bit of a newer fold-out DVD screen thingamajigger. So yeah, I would expect this one works. For some reason it was never used again after it came back from service. So now it's in my hands, and I would like to see if it works, and I don't know what these connectors are for. Okay, there's a DVD in. Could possibly use that for a backup camera. But there's a TV in too. We could use that as a backup camera. We already looked at those. I'm guessing I'm going to need the manual for this to see what each of these do, but I'm guessing these are front and rear pre-outs. Maybe that would be the subwoofer out. I don't know. Okay, audio in left and right. Video in, video out. DVD AC in. I'm guessing that does not stand for air conditioning. What else we got on here? There is a connector here, so I don't know if this unit actually has a hideaway unit that's supposed to be with it or not, so I'm not actually sure that this would. That might actually be a CNET connector. Let's compare against the hideaway for the other unit. Okay, the CNET on this one, yeah, that's what that is. That's Clarion's CNET connector right there. So we've got a good chance of actually being able to do something with this one. So I can't wait to see if that one works too. Now what else do we got? Oh, something special. You guys know who KEF is, right? Well, they made a foray into the car audio world at one point. And it just so happens I've got a vintage set of them right here. These are coaxial speakers with an outboard crossover, and just let's see how good they are. That one moves freely. That one moves freely. Please tell me these are good. Okay, we've got KX3 on the high frequency, low frequency crossover here. So let's flip them over, see what we got. Don't worry, doing this won't hurt anything. Okay, we got two sets of terminals on each. One for the woofer, one for the tweeter. And I want to see if they're both good on each speaker. So where is my meter? Okay. I'm going to live dangerously and leave it on auto range. All right, let's do woofer first. Woofer is good on that one. Now we're not going to do this long on the tweeters because no crossover right now. Tweeter's good. So this one is completely good. Let's bring the other one over. This one's losing its speaker wire. That's okay. I don't plan on keeping that old speaker wire anyway. Well, maybe I can find a use for it. I don't know. Okay, let's see here. How am I going to measure this thing? All right, tweeter side first. Tweeter appears to be shot on this one. Should not be getting 0.398 on that. Woofer is good. So all we've got here is a blown tweeter, apparently. Guessing that's why it was on the recycling shelf. Anyhow, that's fine. We might still be able to do something with this. I don't know. It's kind of neat to have anyway in the collection. Anyhow, I guess that's going to be it for today. We've gone through all of it, I think. Let me just check. Yeah, that's the lot of it from this haul. So you guys can comment if there's anything you'd like me to check out on camera. Let me know, and I'll see if I can make it happen. Till then, I'll see you next time. Take care.